The film opens with sweeping aerial shots of California's vast wilderness, a forest stretching nearly 100 kilometers wide. Between the dense green canopy, tall electric towers stand like silent sentinels. This forested region is known as Paradise. Cut to the city at 4 p.m. A yellow school bus moves steadily through traffic. Behind the wheel is Kevin, the driver, dropping off kids one by one before finally reaching the bus depot in Paradise City. After parking, he walks to the office to hand over his keys. Rosie, the dispatcher and supervisor, reminds him he's needed again at 6 p.m. for another shift. Kevin hesitates, explaining that he's dealing with a family emergency and asks if he can get his payment early. Rosie tells him firmly that payments always come on schedule, every shift already covered by older drivers who never complain. Kevin nods quietly and leaves. At home, Kevin receives a call from the vet, bad news. His dog has cancer. Heartbroken, he rushes to the clinic, then calls his mother, Kat, who lives alone. He tells her about the dog's condition. His teenage son, Shay, overhears the conversation. When Kevin checks on him, Shay is blasting music instead of studying. Frustrated, Kevin reminds him he's 15 and needs to be more responsible. Shay brushes him off, saying he's no different from his dad. Hurt, Kevin admits it might be true, maybe he's to blame, and quietly walks away. Later that day, Kevin takes the dog back to the vet for treatment. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, an old electric pole collapses. Sparks fly, and a tiny flame ignites. Within minutes, that spark becomes a roaring wildfire, racing through the trees. The next morning, Kevin returns for his shift. Rosie greets him and asks if he can finish the route quickly. There's extra pay for overtime. Kevin agrees and drives off. Out on the road, another driver spots the growing blaze and alerts the control room. Surveillance cameras confirm it. The fire is spreading fast. As Kevin continues dropping kids home, his mind drifts to thoughts of Shay. Firefighting teams are already battling the inferno as it jumps from one electric line to another, devouring everything in its path. Kevin's phone rings. It's his mother. She says Shay isn't feeling well and mentions that Rachel, Kevin's ex-wife, called earlier. Kevin immediately asks Rosie if he can leave to check on his son, but she refuses. He needs to finish his route first. At the same time, firefighters push deeper into the burning forest, rescuing trapped residents as the flames grow, inching closer toward Paradise City. Kevin stops by a local medical center to pick up medicine for Shay. As he steps outside, he sees fire trucks racing down the street. His concern deepens. He calls his mother again to check on them. Elsewhere, chaos unfolds. Firefighters encounter terrified residents fighting amongst themselves as flames consume their homes. Kevin radios Rosie again, pleading to leave, but she tells him his shift will be over in just 1 more hour. Moments later, Rachel calls. She's taking Shay with her. The two argue bitterly. Rachel accuses Kevin of being a failure, saying their son is turning out just like him. Shattered, Kevin pulls the bus over to the side of the road. Rosie calls for him on the radio, but he doesn't answer. Instead, he records a message for Shay, apologizing for everything, telling him to go with Kat if Kevin doesn't make it back. The government, he explains, has already set up a safe shelter outside the city. Meanwhile, at a school camp deep in the forest, around 60 to 70 children watch the distant firelight flicker against the sky. Their teacher, Mary, tries to calm them, saying it's just a small blaze. But other teachers sense danger. They start organizing the kids, urging them to call their parents while arranging transportation. A bus is desperately needed. Rosie radios all drivers, pleading for someone to help evacuate the children, but most refuse. Kevin, seeing firefighters risking their lives all around him, makes his decision. He radios back, telling Rosie he'll do it. Rosie, relieved and emotional, thanks him. Kevin drives straight to the school, meets Mary, and quickly helps load the children onto the bus. He insists she come along to help manage the kids. The other teachers leave in their cars as Kevin, Mary, and the children pull out of the camp. But the main road is packed. Traffic barely moves. The fire is closing in. Thinking fast, Kevin turns onto an alternate route. Mary protests, but Kevin reassures her it's their best shot. As they drive, Kevin opens up. He's been driving buses for only 2 months. He lives with his mother and son, but struggles to connect with Shay. Mary shares her own story. She's been teaching for 15 years, living with her mother and her son Jack. The children tremble in fear, but Mary keeps her voice calm, reassuring them as Kevin focuses on the road ahead. Outside, the fire has now consumed Paradise City. Rosie and her team evacuate the control office, leaving Kevin without any radio contact. The streets are chaos. Smoke fills the sky, and abandoned cars line every corner. Kevin's bus gets stuck in traffic again. He steps out, waving his arms, directing vehicles, shouting for drivers to move aside. Somehow, he manages to clear a path and push forward through the gridlock. When they reach Paradise School, it's deserted, surrounded by flames. Unsure of what to do next, Kevin and Mary decide to keep going. Suddenly, one of the girls has a panic attack. Mary holds her close, whispering that everything will be okay, while Kevin drives through a blackened road, ash swirling like snow around them. Officials estimate that between 7,000 and 8,000 people are trapped. They urgently demand the power company shut down electricity to prevent live wires from igniting new fires. After a tense hesitation, the company finally complies. Inside the bus, Kevin notices a boy named Josh sobbing quietly. He's terrified he'll never see his mother again. Kevin kneels beside him and promises he'll get him home safely. As they take a detour through back roads, the danger grows. Out of nowhere, armed looters appear, blocking the way and demanding to board the bus. Kevin refuses. He slams the gas pedal, speeding away as the men shout behind him. The children are growing restless, thirsty, and exhausted. Mary spots a row of abandoned houses and runs out to find water. She moves quickly, collecting bottles while trying to stay hidden. Then, an explosion erupts nearby, shaking the ground. She barely escapes the blast and races back to the bus, covered in soot but safe. Back at the safe camp, anxious parents crowd around Rosie, desperate for news. Rosie tells them to trust Kevin. If anyone can bring those children home, it's him. Meanwhile, Kevin steers the bus toward a narrow, unpaved mountain road, the only way out. Locals wave frantically, warning that the road has been destroyed by the fire. But the flames are closing in. There's nowhere else to go. Surrounded on all sides, Kevin and Mary realize they're trapped. Smoke pours into the bus. Thinking fast, Kevin seals every vent and crack with tape, trying to block the fumes. The children cry softly, huddled together. Kevin tells them stories, gentle, hopeful stories, urging them to rest, even just for a moment. Mary, her voice trembling, whispers that the fire could reach them within the hour. Kevin refuses to give up. "We're not dying here," he says firmly. "Not today." Outside, the night glows like daylight as flames roar through the forest. Inside, Kevin reflects on his life, the mistakes, the regrets, the father he once disappointed, and the son he struggled to understand. He realizes that all his life, he ran from responsibility. But not this time. This time he chose to stay. To fight. To save. Mary rests her hand on his shoulder and tells him it's not too late. He can still make things right with Shay. The fire draws closer. The heat rattles the metal walls of the bus. Children scream as the flames lick the windows. Kevin and Mary grab fire extinguishers and rush outside, spraying desperately, but the blaze is too strong. Their extinguishers sputter and die. There's only one way left. Kevin decides they'll drive through the fire itself. He jumps behind the wheel, but the engine won't start. Panic sets in. He leaps out, checks under the hood, and finds the battery wires melted loose. His hands tremble as he reconnects them. Mary turns the key, and the engine roars back to life. The bus surges forward into the inferno. Flames engulf the road. Smoke blinds his eyes. Sparks rain across the windshield. The children scream as the bus barrels through the wall of fire. Kevin keeps going, driving through the blinding smoke until suddenly, light breaks through. Sunlight. They've made it out. Kevin slows the bus as they roll onto the open highway. Behind them, the fire rages, but ahead, the sky is clear. Inside, Mary and the children burst into tears of relief, hugging and crying together. Kevin exhales, trembling, disbelief written across his face. They survived. After hours on the road, they finally reach the safe camp. Parents rush forward, crying with joy as the children pour out of the bus. Cheers erupt. Little Josh runs into his mother's arms, then turns to wave goodbye. Kevin waves back, smiling faintly. Mary thanks Kevin for his courage. Parents applaud, praising his bravery, calling him a hero. Mary tells them he's the reason they're all alive. Then she reunites with her own family, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Kevin steps down from the bus, staring at its charred, blackened frame. Rosie arrives moments later, beaming with pride. Other drivers gather around him, shaking his hand, patting his back, thanking him for what he did. But Kevin isn't thinking about fame. He's thinking about family. He spots his dog and his mother, Kat, among the crowd. She tells him a kind neighbor helped her escape and that Rachel took Shay to safety. They're safe, she says softly. He's happy. Kevin listens quietly, his eyes glistening. Kat pulls him close, comforting him. A week later, the fire is finally contained. Paradise lies in ruins, a city of ash and silence. Kevin walks through the remnants of his burned home, sifting through debris until he finds a half-buried photo of himself and Shay. He holds it close, tears welling in his eyes. Then, a car pulls up behind him. Rachel steps out. This time, Shay runs straight into his father's arms, hugging him tightly. Kevin holds him, speechless. Father and son, finally reunited. The screen fades to black. A closing message appears. This fire became the largest in California's history, destroying more than 13,000 homes. Pacific Gas and Electric was found responsible and paid $13.5 billion in compensation to the victims.